The winds over Dubai whisper tales of longing, but none echo louder than the verses etched in Sheikh Hamdan's soul. His poetry, steeped in passion and veiled vulnerability, reveals a heart that dares to love beyond the confines of a crown. In the soft hush of twilight, his words become bridges, spanning across oceans of silence, reaching out to a soul that might not even know it is the muse. This is not just poetry, this is the cry of a man burdened with golden robes yet dreaming in bare truths. Each stanza bleeds with the ache of distance and the hunger of unspoken words. In the heart of the desert, under the pulse of a million stars, Sheikh Hamdan pens the verses of his final hope. He does not write to be admired, he writes to survive, to remember that even kings are men, and even men can crumble under the weight of a single, unreturned gaze. His poems tremble with the tension between destiny and desire, empire and emotion. There is a girl, he never names her, but she walks through his poetry like a flame in the dark. She is the compass of his compassless nights, the reason behind the hesitations in his breath. She may be real, she may be dream, but to him, she is the last prayer he sends to the heavens when the palace walls begin to close in. You are the verse I never wrote, he once scribbled, and in those few words, an entire empire's silence was broken. His verses are weapons and wounds alike. In them, he is no longer a ruler, but a wanderer, chasing shadows, memories, and moonlight. He speaks of falcons and freedom, of choices made by fate, not heart. He confesses that sometimes he watches the ocean not for its beauty, but because he hopes she's somewhere across it, watching too. His pain is elegant, his longing royal. And yet, it's the common ache of all men who have loved too hard, too deep, too late. He never demands, only offers. His poems are open palms, not commands. That humility, hidden beneath robes of silk and titles of power, is where his truth lives. I would trade all my crowns, one poem reads, for one honest smile that wasn't meant for the prince but for the man. These lines do not seek pity, they offer presence, honesty, surrender. In his vulnerability, he is most divine. As seasons shift and time bleeds forward, Sheikh Hamdan continues to write, perhaps knowing his poems may never reach her. Or if they do, she may never answer. But this does not stop him. Hope, he believes, is not a destination but a discipline. To hope despite reality, to write despite silence, is his ultimate act of faith. These poems are his prayers in motion, his soul without its armor. The pages that hold his ink are soaked in fragrance, oud, tears, and rosewater. They carry the scent of a love that once was or maybe never was but lives louder in poetry than it ever did in life. You do not know, he writes, but I visit you in every dream I permit myself to feel. His poetry is the language of yearning, of restraint that still sings. There is royalty in his grief, majesty in his patience. He does not rage at the heavens. He bows, pen in hand, heart in pieces, and crafts from those pieces something immortal. My last hope, he calls her, not because she is the only one left, but because no one else ever mattered as much. His hope is not desperation, it's devotion dressed in ink. Even in the grand halls of Zabil Palace, amid gold and command, his solitude drips through the marble. Courtiers may bow, the world may praise, but none of them know that the true throne he seeks is a place in her heart. His poetry becomes the only crown that fits, the only one forged not by heritage but by truth. And in this truth, he is endlessly, beautifully human. The world knows Sheikh Hamdan the leader, the writer, the warrior prince. But in these poems, He is a man reduced to ink and elevated by emotion. His verses are not for public applause. They are midnight conversations with the stars, and every line he pens is a line closer to the echo of her memory. She may never read them, but he will keep writing, because writing her into the world is how he keeps her near. And so he waits, not for a reply, but for the soft miracle of peace. If she never comes, his poems will remain as relics of a man who chose to love without certainty. If she returns, she will find her name written across every dawn and dusk he ever described. She will find herself immortalized in every sigh between the lines. And perhaps she'll understand that she was never just a muse. She was a sanctuary, a salvation, the very pulse of his last hope. My last hope is not a person. It's a flicker of light buried deep beneath the weight of every disappointment I've carried like armor. It's the quiet defiance in my chest when everything else screams to give up. It's not loud. It doesn't roar. But it refuses to die. It stays, pulsing with the rhythm of every dream I've yet to touch, every prayer I've whispered into pillows soaked with silent tears. My last hope is the reason I'm still standing, even when every part of me has fallen 1,000 times. My last hope was born from ruins. It rose from broken moments when I thought nothing would ever get better, when even breathing felt like a battle. And yet, in those cracks, something sacred whispered, "Not yet. You're not done." It doesn't promise me ease, it promises meaning. It reminds me that even in the chaos, I can rebuild. That even when life burns everything to ash, I am still the kind of soul that turns ashes into wings. My last hope lives in the unseen. In the seconds before sunrise when the sky is still heavy with darkness, but a new day inches closer. It's in the way I keep loving after betrayal. In how I keep trusting even after being let down. My last hope is what gets me out of bed when the weight of the world pins me down. It's what tells me there's something worth reaching for, even if I can't yet see it. It's faith without proof. Fire without fuel. My last hope is stitched into the voices that remind me who I am when I forget. In the quiet encouragement from souls who see my worth when I see only flaws. It's in the way I've survived things I swore I never would, in the resilience that flows through me like a current, silent but powerful. My last hope is proof that there's more strength in me than I ever believed, more light than the darkness tried to take. My last hope is not naive. It knows pain. It has looked loss in the eyes and kept walking. It has buried dreams and still dared to plant new ones. It doesn't deny reality, it reshapes it. It has scars, but it wears them like medals, reminders that I've walked through fire and still have the